Hi, my name is Scott. I'm going to be performing a head-to-toe assessment on my wife here. She's going to double as my patient. What we're going to assume has already happened was the initial medical history as well as a mental health assessment. So we're going to start from there. We're going to assume that cranial nerve number 2, the Snellen test, was already done as well. So we're going to start out with cranial nerve number 1 that has to do with smelling, and we're going to start doing the test from there. So I'm going to grab 2 different smells here. I'm going to have the patient, my wife, clog one nostril and smell this. Okay, what does that smell like?
Lavender.
Okay, good. So now we're going to do the opposite nostril.
Eucalyptus.
Lavender and eucalyptus. Okay, so we know that cranial nerve number 1 is working properly. So now we're going to look at cranial nerves number 3, 4, and 6. Those have to do with the eyes. So I'm going to get my little flashlight here. First, I'm going to have you open and close your eyelids. Okay. I'm going to have you look at my nose, follow my finger. Okay. So this is testing the external ocular muscle. Okay. Now I'm going to shine a light in her eyes. I'm going to cover one half of her face and check her pupillary responses to make sure that they are equal and reactive to light on both sides, which they are. So they are working correctly. So I'm going to put my flashlight away here. Next, I'm going to work on cranial nerves 5 and 7 that deal with the cheek and cheek movement. So I'm going to have you puff out your cheeks for me. Okay, I'm going to have you open your mouth and bite. Okay, so I'm looking at TMJ, the TMJ joint as well here. Go ahead and bite for me. Okay, good. And that seems to be working. So as she's doing this, I'm going to be looking at her mucous membranes inside of her mouth. Go ahead and open your mouth. Okay, perfect. And so while I'm doing this, I'm going to check cranial nerves 9, 10, and 12 that do with tongue, have to do with tongue movement. So go ahead and wiggle your tongue back and forth. Okay, go ahead and say ah.
Ah.
Okay, and I'm also going to use this tongue depressor to see if I can get a gag reflex out of her. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at mucous membranes here. I'm going to be looking at the tonsils and the teeth and the gums. Okay, perfect. So, and I'm going to have you smile, crinkle your face. Okay, good. I'm going to put this back. Okay, so now I'm going to look at cranial nerve number 8 that has to do with hearing. So I'm going to whisper something softly into her ear and see if she can repeat it back.
Apple. Banana.
Okay, so that is correct. So we've done cranial nerves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12. So now we're going to do cranial nerve number 11 that deals with the shoulder and neck muscles. Okay, so go ahead and shrug your shoulders. Okay, good. Okay, turn your head, push back against my hand. Okay, turn your head again, push back. Okay, so that tells me that her cranial nerve number 11 is working properly. So at this point in the test, we're going to go over alternating movements. So I'm going to have her put her hands right there, flip them around. Now one at a time. Other hand. Okay, now I want you to do finger to thumb. Okay, running through fingers to thumb. Other hand. Okay, I want you to do finger to nose. Okay, other hand, finger to nose. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple different tests now. I'm going to go back to cranial nerve number 5 and 7 with the cheek, and I'm going to make sure she can feel the sensation. Can you feel that?
Yes.
Can you feel that?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to poke with a sharp object, see if she can feel it. Close your eyes. Tell me when you feel it.
Ah.
Okay?
No.
Okay, great. So now I'm going to test for sterignosis and gravesthesia. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to have her close her eyes and hold out her hands. I'm going to put some familiar objects in her hands and see if she can tell me what they are.
That's a coin.
That's a coin, good job. So the other hand,
Sorry, that's a pen.
that's a pen. Okay, good job. So now I'm going to carve a letter into her hand with my finger and see if she can tell me what letter I am carving.
M.
Okay,
S.
perfect. All right, so now we're going to work on the balancing. So I'm going to have her stand up. First of all, with the alternating movement, I'm going to have her take her foot and go from shin to foot. Okay. All right, perfect. Now we're going to do what's called the Ronberg test, which tests balance. So I'm going to have her stand in place. I'm going to stand next to her in case she loses her balance. I'm going to be looking for leaning back and forth, swaying back and forth, to see if she can hold her posture while she's standing. So I want you to take your arm up, touch your, okay, stand on one foot, okay, stand on the other foot, okay, perfect. So now I'm going to have you close your eyes, okay, take your arm up, okay, touch your nose, okay, and touch your nose. Okay, so her balance is doing good. So now I'm going to have her walk on her heels and her tippy toes. So go ahead and walk on her tippy toes over here. Okay, now she's staggering a little bit because she has a hurt toe. So I'm going to have her turn around and walk the other way on her heels. Okay, and this is also checking for scoliosis as well. So now we got the cranial nerves and the balancing out of the way. So now we're going to move on to the head, ears, nose, throat portion of the test. So I'm going to have you sit down. Okay, so while I'm doing this, I'm going to be checking for texture. Everywhere I go, I'm going to be palpating, checking for lumps, bruises, discoloration, anything that looks out of the ordinary. I'm going to be looking at the hair, looking for distribution. Okay, so now I'm going to go look into the ears. I'm going to be looking at the external auricle, see if there's any tenderness. Okay, I'm going to, if I had a otoscope, I'd be using it, but since I do not, I'm going to be using a flashlight instead. I'm going to be looking down the ear canal. I'm going to be looking for the tympanic membrane, which should be a pearly gray. Okay, I'm going to look at the other side. Okay, so now I'm going to look up the nares of the nose. I'm going to be looking for what color the turbinates are, as well as mucous membranes, what color and texture. I'm also going to be looking for septum deviation. Okay, so everything looks good there. So the next portion of this exam is I'm going to be palpating the throat and looking for the palpating the thyroid and the lymph nodes, or the lymph nodes in there. I'm going to be assessing for tenderness. I'm going to be looking for symmetrical appearance. Okay, any tenderness?
No.
Okay, so I'm also going to be looking for the carotid artery on both sides, and then I'm going to listen for Brutus. All right, perfect. So that concludes the head portion of the exam. So now we're going to move on to torso. So I'm going to have her stand up for me. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a couple different things. I'm going to be palpating for fremitus. So what that is consolidation in the lungs. I'm going to have her say the word 99 as I palpate. And if there is some consolidation in the lungs, then I will feel the vibrations more prominently. Okay?
99, 99, 99, 99.
Okay, so now I'm going to be using percussion to check for tenderness in the costal vertebral angles right above the kidneys. I'm going to be using the ball of my hand, and I'm going to be using my other hand kind of like a hammer to percuss. Okay, now I'm going to do a little whisper test. I'm going to again be listening for consolidation in the lungs. She's going to be whispering the word 99. If there is consolidation, I'll be able to hear her whisper a little bit more clearly. If there's nothing, I won't be able to hear anything. Okay?
99,
Say 99.
99, 99, 99, 99, 99.
Okay, and for time's sake, I'm just rushing through this so that we can fit everything on the video. I'm going to be listening for lung sounds.
Oops, there you go. It's still going.
Okay, is it still running?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to be listening for lung sounds.
For time, yeah.
Deep breath. Okay, and again, I'm just cruising through this so we don't run out of time on the video. Okay, I'm going to have her turn around, and again, I'm going to be listening for lung sounds. Okay, I'm also going to be listening for the five cardiac points of the heart, which are going to be the atrial, pulmonary, ERPs, tricuspid, and mitral areas of the heart. Okay, and so as I'm inspecting the anterior, I'm going to be looking for any lumps, any color discoloration, any abnormalities. Normally I would have the patient in a gown and have a little bit more access to that. So now I'm going to move on to the abdomen portion. I'm going to have the patient lie supine. So I'm going to lower the camera here so that we can see her on the ground. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be listening for bowel sounds, followed by some percussion, percussing the liver and the spleen, and then I'm going to be doing some light and deep palpating. So for time's sake, I'm just going to run through this so we don't run out of space on the video. Okay, I'm also going to be listening for Brutus in the aorta. I'm going to be using my middle finger and tapping on it for percussion. Okay, and then I'm going to be doing light and deep palpating. So normally, I would have the patient go to the bathroom and empty their bladder before we did this, because we're going to be palpating the bladder as well. And if there is any points of tenderness, I would examine them lastly. Okay, So that concludes the abdomen. So we're going to move on to the arms and legs.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry.
So with this, I'm going to be doing deep tendon reflexes. If I had a hammer, I would use a hammer, so I'm just going to point out where I would do those. I would be doing it on the bicep right here. I would be doing it on the tricep back here. I would be doing it on the brachioradialis tendon right here. I would be using the Achilles tendon and the popliteal tendon on the back of the knee. Okay, so I'm also going to look for pulses. I'm going to feel the radial pulses. Okay, I'm going to feel the dorsal pulses on the feet. If I wanted to, I could also do the post-tibial pulses, which are behind the ankles. Okay, and I would do the patellar. I think it's the patellar popliteal pulse on the back of the knee. So with the legs, obviously, like everything else, I'm going to be looking for abnormalities, skin color, texture, anything that doesn't look right. I'm also going to be looking for edema. Okay, and I'm going to look for the Holmes sign to look for deep vein thrombosis. And I'm going to be looking for the Clonus sign. Okay, everything's looking good there. I'm going to be looking for capillary refill, so I'm going to squeeze the thumbs and see how long it takes for the coloration to come back into the thumbs. Normally we want 2 seconds or less. And again, I'm going to be looking for discoloration. I'm going to be looking for texture, any lumps, bruises that don't belong there. Okay. I'm just thinking to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Okay, so I'm going to have you push up on my hands. Okay, I'm testing strength. Okay, push side to side. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have you push up with your feet. Okay, perfect. So this concludes my head to toe examination. I hope I got everything, and thank you for watching.